be too far away. Oh, it's actually popped up on the channel quite quickly. It's still uploading to the channel though, so I'm going to give it a minute so we can actually load onto the channel. Alright, there we go. So, stream's up. Audio is working as it should be. Stream's up, chat's up, we're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the PlayStation America series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's one of the oldest tracks on the schedule, having hosted its first ever race in 1948, and was part of the first ever Formula One World Championship in 1950. It also hosted the Dutch Grand Prix for many years, 32 in fact, until 1985, a race where the late great Niki Lauda would end up claiming his final victory in a Formula One race car. After 85, the track fell off the calendar, thought never to be seen in Formula One again, until a certain Dutch racing driver revived the interest of Formula One in the Netherlands. After a 36-year absence, Zandvoort made its return last year, and it's looking like it's here to stay. The modern layout, which was revised in 2020, measures up at 2.65 miles and consists of 14 turns. Although it's not a lengthy course, it still features areas with a great deal of technical difficulty, none more so than the bank corners of turns 3 and 14, as well as the high-speed sweepers of turns 6, 7 and 8. The circuit also consists of 2 DRS zones that lead into Turn 1's Tarzan Corner and the Mickey Mouse Turn 11-12 chicane. Turn 1 is realistically the only overtaking opportunity around the racetrack. As a result, qualifying is going to be incredibly important for achieving victory today. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Spa. Quite a dramatic one at that. There were 3 incident reports of note that resulted in quite large penalties. The first of which, involving Rebellion and JBH. During a safety car period, we didn't quite catch what actually happened, but we caught the end of it, which resulted in Rebellion retiring from the race. And the verdict from the stewards, JBH was given a 15-second time penalty and 3 penalty points for violating Rule 3.7.3 and 3.1.2 of the Race Spec Racing rules. As a result, he would go from P9 to P11 in the final results, promoting Rafa up to P9 and KD to P10. There was also an incident involving T. Brum and Renner Jr. as Blockman's lost control and put it into the wall at the exit of turn 7. Oh, and an Alfa Romeo and Mercedes are on their way, and an Aston Martin. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, he gets out of the way, and he's now got clear track to get going again. But fortunately for him, he hasn't retired out of qualifying. It wasn't a big enough hit. But certainly quite lucky there. But yes, there was an incident involving T. Brum and Renner Jr. The result being T. Brum was given a 15-second time penalty and 3 penalty points for that. Not that it really matters with the time penalty because he retired from the race, but the 3 penalty points go against his name on his racing license. And the final incident involving Hash and Rafa. It was an incident on the opening lap. Rafa was found at fault, and he was given a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points, but the time penalty doesn't affect his finishing result. He stays in P9. In the Drivers' Championship, Nico is leading the way after his victory at Spa on 30 points, followed by Monty Wombat on 23, then Axis in the Aston Martin on 20. Collider's next in the Alpine on 17, followed by Easy Rider on 15, and completing the top 10, we have the reserve driver Sir Jake, Captain Schmeg, Liquito, then Rafa and KD. In the constructors' standings, AlphaTauri are leading on 30 points. Well, actually, they're equally tied with McLaren, both teams on 30 points after round 1. Followed by Aston Martin on 20, then Williams on 19, Alpine on 17, Red Bull on 15, Mercedes and Haas are tied on 9 points, and Alfa Romeo and Ferrari yet to score in this championship. And that's pretty much all the news out of the way. We can now focus on qualifying. And I've got a weather report from KD, We got clear conditions all the way through qualifying, but we're going to have some rain towards the end of this Grand Prix. So we're going to have mixed weather conditions for this Dutch Grand Prix. That should make things quite interesting as Axis jumps up to the top of the table with a 1 minute 11.168. So we've got to keep that in mind. KD now jumps up to the top with a 1 minute 11.040. Hello ACW, hello Bags in the chat as well. Nice to see you two fellas watching along for what will hopefully be an interesting race here at Zandvoort. I've commentated Elite Series and Pacific Tier 1. Both races were quite interesting. Elite Series was definitely the more interesting of the two. A full wet race, and we had a spectacular finish, one of the best finishes I've seen in my commentary career. And Tier 1 was a very intense race, which resulted in a tight finish. The top three was separated by less than a second. So hopefully we get to see some interesting stuff here in the Americas Series. As Brum has joined the session, that's good to see. So we should have an 18-car field, a really nice, healthy-sized field, as it usually is here in the Americas Series. Let's see. We've got a few drivers on out laps as I speak. A lot of drivers have just put their first benchmarks down. A nice reference point for the rest of qualifying. We'll stay here with Cole as he's making his way around the lap. Not trying to push too hard on the out lap. You don't really want to. Want to be nice and careful and just steadily build up tyre temperatures, getting ready for your flying lap. Cole's making his way up towards the chicane. We'll start to ride on board with him with a few moments' time. Give you a proper tour of this racetrack as he heads up towards turn 13. One of the most important corners on the racetrack as Brum has left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin as soon as possible. He can hop into his car and we can get on with it. Speaking of getting on with it, Cole is going to begin another flying lap, heading down towards turn 1, Tarzan Corner, easily the best overtaking spot on the racetrack. Third gear, apex speed of about 70 miles an hour. He floors it on the exit. Now heading around the right-hander of turn 2, clipping that inside curb and putting it into the wall. Well, we're not going to see a complete flying lap from Cole, unfortunately. He is out of qualifying. A massive blow for him, that's for sure. But, that's something I haven't quite touched on with this circuit, at least here in the Americas Series. The curbs are really nasty around this racetrack. You do have to be extraordinarily careful with every single curb around this circuit as Nico, our current championship leader, begins the flying lap. Blockman in the other AlphaTauri jumped up to P6 as Nico has a moment out of turn 1, heading around turn 2 and into the bank sweeper of turn 3. Fourth gear, gently applying the throttle around turn 5 towards turn 6 and up and around turn 7. He'll complete the first sector and he's up by just over 0.2 of a second in the first sector. So even with that little mistake, he's found a fair bit of time. Around turn 8, up towards turn 9, bringing it down to third gear, then short shifting to fourth, then up towards the hairpin of turn 10. Important that you get a nice exit here so you can maximize straight line speed down towards turn 11. Seventh gear, entry speed into the chicane 180 miles an hour. Apex speed at turn 12, just over 60 miles an hour. It's a big old braking zone, but it's not really an overtaking spot on the racetrack, if I'm totally honest. Around turn 13, and that outside curb. It is a really, really nasty curb. As I mentioned before, all the curbs here are nasty, but that outside curb at turn 13, it's one of the worst. You use too much of it, then the curb sucks you wide and it pushes you towards the outside wall. You have to be so careful. And Nico, fortunately, was on top of things and kept his car off the grass and out of the barrier. Now, Mighty Wombat was down to the first sector. JBH appears to be on a preparation lap. He's not using any battery as of right now. Doesn't seem to be pushing. Collider is up by just over 1/10 in the middle sector. He's coming around the final bank sweeper of turn 14. He'll open DRS and head up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 11.485. He's improved by just over 3.5 tenths and goes 5th quickest in the session so far. Axis is making his way up to the first sector split. He's not using battery, I've just noticed. So he might be on a preparation lap. KD, he's definitely not on a preparation lap. He's on a flying lap. First sector says he's up by just under 1/10 of a second. as he heads out of turn 7, up towards turn 8, 6th gear, back on the accelerator as he heads towards the hairpin of turn 9, 3rd gear, short shifting to 4th, try and avoid the outside curve on the exit as he heads around turn 10. Again, short shifting up through the gears, trying to find traction. These cars can step out on you very, very quickly, so you do have to be careful. And he's up by 4/10 to the middle sector. He's found plenty of time. Coming out of turn 12, heading up towards turn 13, 6th gear, bringing it back down to 5th, using just enough curb on the exit of turn 13. Nicely done there as he heads onto the main straightaway up towards the line. KD will set a 10.5, improves by half a second. He's now got 6.5 tenths to Axis in P2, who has just started a flying lap. He's heading out of turn 3, around turn 4, then turn 5, then turns 6 and 7. First sector says for Axis, he's up by 2/10. He's found plenty of time. Can he find any more time in the remaining 2 sectors? He does have a Ferrari right in front of him, though. I'm not sure who that is, but they've gotten out of the way. Nicely done there. Oh, as that's not nicely done, and Axis has put it into the wall at the exit of turn 9. He's now out of qualifying. Oh dear, both cars we've driven on board with and put it into the wall. Oh no. Oh dear, I better not ride on board with anybody then. I'm cursing some people, that's not good. As Nico's making his way around turn 3. Out of the bank sweeper, around turn 4, up towards turns 5 and 6. That complete the first sector. What does the clock say for Nico? It says he's up by 1.5 tenths of a second. Out of turn 7, heading towards turn 8. Bringing it down to 6th gear, again smashing the accelerator on the exit. He's got plenty of traction in that AlphaTauri right now. It looks pretty comfortable. Out of turn 9, around turn 10, 3rd gear, short shifting up to 5th gear, unlike KD where we saw him only short shift to 4th. Up towards the chicane of turns 11 and 12, he's up by just under 3/10. He's looking at a high 10. Can he find any more time in this final sector? 2 corners remain for Nico. Around turn 13, down to 4th gear, short shifting up to 6. No hint of oversteer this time around for Nico. Gets a lovely amount of traction out of turn 13. Heads down the main straightaway, crosses the line. It's an 11 flat. He actually lost time in the final sector, just a little bit of time, but he does go up to P2. Blockman up by 2/10 to the middle sector. He actually lost a little bit of time. I think he lost a few thousandths in that middle sector, but he's still positive on his current personal best, that being a 1 minute at 11.659. Around the final sweeper, turn 14, and Alfa Romeo slowing down, perhaps a mistake there by the Alfa Romeo driver. That would be Rafixa, as Blockman jumps to P5, improving by just under 3/10, setting a 1 minute 11.374. Mighty Wombat heading through the first sector. What does the clock say to the first sector split? He's well down by over 2.5 tenths. He is still using battery though. He's still pushing through this middle sector. It's a very technical sector here at Zandvoort. There's plenty of time to be gained, but there's also plenty of time to be lost if you make a mistake. Around turn 10, he'll open DRS down the straightaway and head towards the middle sector split. What does the clock say? He's well down. He's not pushing at all. So he'll probably go back into the pits, I would think. Easy Rider heading out of the final sweeper. He'll head down the main straightaway, cross the line, stays 9th, but improves by a 10th to set a 1 minute 11.762. Yellow flags are out. A slow car out on track. Not sure who that would be. Rebellion up by a 10th to the first sector, down by 100th in the middle sector. Can Rebellion find any time here in the final sector, exiting turn 12, heading up towards turn 13, bringing it down to 5th gear, getting back on the accelerator, using just enough curb on the outside, or the car wriggling going through the final sweeper. Doesn't cooperate with him too much. He'll cross the line to improve by only 13,000, stays P11 with a 1 minute 11.934. Just in front of Hash, who was up by 2/10 to the first sector. Out to turn 7, using plenty of the racetrack on the outside there of turn 7. Around turn 8, into turn 9, bringing it down to 4th gear. Smashing the accelerator there. He's definitely got traction control turned on, based off the telemetry. Out of turn 10 with DRS open, heading up towards the middle sector split. What does the clock say for the Ferrari driver? He's up by quite a bit, by just under 4/10 as Flavius retired, in the pit lane. Heading up towards turn 13, down to 5th gear, getting back on the accelerator. He's got plenty of traction in that Ferrari, that's for sure. Heading on to the main straightaway with DRS open. Heading up towards the line, Hash will set an 11.6, jumps up to P8 with that time, as he improved by 3.5 of a second. Collider on an outlap, KD on an outlap as well, with just under 3 minutes left in qualifying. This will give KD plenty of time to do an outlap and a preparation lap if he wants to. Try and drain some of the extra fuel that's in the car. We'll have to wait and see what he does. Collider, JBH getting ready as well. Renner Jr. Getting ready. Guitar Hero, I believe, has just started a flying lap, heading towards turn 2, down to 5th gear, then around turn 3, bringing it all the way down to 2nd gear, 3rd gear, 4th gear out of turn 3, around turn 4, into turn 5, then turn 6. What does the first sector split say? He is up by 81 thousandths of a second. Now, KD, are you pushing? You appear to be pushing. You are using battery. What does the first sector say for KD, our current pole sitter? He is up by just over 1/10 in the first sector. Out of turn 7, heading towards turn 8. Brings it down to 6th gear. Gets back on the accelerator, nice and tidy from KD through turns 8 and 9. Now he's got the critical turn 10 to get around. Brings it down to 4th gear, short shifts to 5th. It's plenty of traction at the exit of turn 10 as he heads towards the middle sector split. The clock says for KD, he's up still, but only just by 61 thousandths of a second. As he heads out to turn 12, up towards turn 13, he'll bring it down to 5th gear, back on the accelerator, doesn't bother to use any of the outside curb at 13, exits the sweeper, opens DRS, heads up towards the line. KD will improve to a 1 minute 10.459, cementing himself at the top of the table. Can anyone challenge that lap? Well, Collider's up by 1/10 to the middle sector. He's currently P6 with an 11.4. Can he challenge Blockman? Can he challenge Cole? Could he start on the second row of the grid? He'll open DRS and head up towards the line. Collider will stay P6. Lost time in the final sector. Couldn't improve. Blockman making his way around the bank sweeper to begin what will be his final flying lap in this qualifying session. He'll head down towards the big braking zone of Tarzan Corner. Entry speed just over 190 miles an hour, bringing it all the way down to about 76 miles an hour at the apex of turn 1. Around turn 2, then turn 3, 2nd gear, hugging the bottom line. He'll short shift to 3rd gear, then 4th gear, up to 5th. 6 gears, he heads around turn 4, into turn 5, then turn 6. The first sector says for Blockman, he's up by 15 thousandths of a second. Nico making his way around turn 1, his teammate in this race and our championship leader. He'll short shift all the way up to 5th gear at the exit of turn 4. Seriously short shifting as there's a Ferrari off the racetrack. That would be Renner Jr. because Hash has completed qualifying as Nico's up by 78 thousandths to the first sector. Blockman's heading up to the middle sector split. The clock says he is down by 1/10.5. He needs to have a monstrous final sector to try and improve on his current personal best. Mighty Wombat making his way through the final sector as well. He's down on his personal best. Nico, can he improve at all? He needs to improve by quite a lot to try and challenge KD, and he's up by just under 2/10. That's not enough. But if he can improve, he can at least cement himself on the front row next to KD for the start of this race. Around turn 13 for the final time. Around turn 14 for the final time for Nico. Wombat's jumped up to P2. He's found a lot of time in the final sector, but Nico finds time as well, and he overtakes Wombat to put himself P2 next to KD for the start of the race. I'm quite impressed by Wombat. He found a lot of time in that final sector. He was down on his personal best to the middle sector, but he actually improved into the 10s with a 1 minute 10.977. Nico in front by just under 3/10 with a 1 minute 10.697. And KD, our pole sitter for the Dutch Grand Prix, setting a 1 minute 10.459. Really, really solid qualifying for McLaren. They'll be starting first and third here at Zandvoort. Just be waiting on Guitar Hero to be pushed back into his garage, and we can go through the results properly. Interesting qualifying, as it usually is here at Zandvoort. Really, really good. So, look at that. Just over 2:10 separating the top two at the end of qualifying. Half a second separating the top three. KD starts from pole. Nico, our championship leader, P2. Followed by Multi Wombat, P3. Axis, P4. I reckon he'd be pretty happy with that, even with the crash during qualifying, to be starting on the second row. Same with Cole, P5 after his incident, so he won't be too disgruntled about that. Blockman, P6, followed by Collider in 7th. Renner Jr. in 8th, then Rebellion 9th, and Hash rounds out the top 10. Easy Rider will start P11, followed by JBH and Black Baller. Guitar Hero P14, followed by Rafa, Flavius, and Refixer will start from the back of the grid in 17th place. 3 seconds separating the entire field at the end of qualifying. So, race time. And as I mentioned at the beginning of qualifying, KD gave me a weather report stating that we're going to see rain towards the end of the race. Now, will that influence what tyre people will start on? Because I would think a lot of people would want to start on the hard tyre so they can drive until the intermediate conditions come around and then hop onto the intermediate tyre. Or will they go with something more traditional, start on the medium tyre, then move to the hard tyre in preparation for the wet weather conditions? It'd be quite interesting to see who goes with... Whoa, well, that's not good. Quite a few drivers seem to have left the session for some reason. What's happened? I'll quickly check the Discord to see what's going... Oh. Well, that's completely different to what KD said to me. And everyone's left. Oh, okay. We'll start a new lobby. That's the message I've got in the Discord. Interesting. Lobby restart. Very well. Okay. Interesting. Oh, well, these things happen from time to time. That's okay. But yeah, that's something. Full wet conditions for the start of the race. Gee whiz. That's very different to dry conditions and rain at the end of the race. That's very different. Almost the exact opposite. Oh, well. Like I said, this happens from time to time. The coordinators will get it cleaned up nice and quickly. We can get back to racing shortly. Which hopefully will be an interesting race. As I mentioned, for Pacific Tier 1 and for Elite Series, the racing was very, very good in both dry and wet conditions. And no surprises either, there was a fair bit of drama. Zandvoort's that kind of racetrack where drama is, you know, a very common thing to witness during a race. There are just so many areas where you can make a mistake around there. Nasty curves, tricky traction zones, high speed, edge of grip sweepers, and then you got the 2 bank corners as well, where especially turn 3 can be really easy to get out of the corner. If you go too early on the accelerator, you can spin out. And that final bank sweeper in wet weather conditions is rather nasty. In the dry, it's flat out, but in the wet, yeah, not really flat out. So I'll just keep an eye on the Discord as well, just to see what's going on. Oh yeah. At least I got the qualifying results as well. Thank goodness I got those. Yeah. The fellas are now trying to decide what kind of weather to go with, whether just have dry conditions or the wet conditions like we were supposed to have, or just go random again. Suppose we'll find out in a few moments. Haven't got an invite yet, so I'm guessing it's taking a little while to get the lobby up. That's alright. Yeah, it definitely is perfect, Bags. Best game on the planet. And the Cody's can be really proud of this monumental achievement that is F1 22. It's absolutely perfect in every single way. Hopefully it won't take too long. And we've got plenty to look forward to this week. We've got the real life Italian Grand Prix. We got next week we've got a brand new racetrack making its introduction to Race Spec, the Miami International Autodrome. So you might have had it on approximate weather, KD. That's why it told you it was going to be dry instead of perfect weather conditions. Yeah, with approximate, it does shift around a bit with approximate. So. We've got plenty to look forward to in the week coming up. Be interesting to see actual league racing around Miami. I don't know if we'd see too much interesting side-by-side battling, but I imagine with a track like Miami we're going to see a fair bit of drama. It just seems like that kind of racetrack, so next week should definitely be interesting. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Formula Endurance will start up this Saturday, I'm reasonably certain, and I'm actually driving in that. Formula Endurance with its 100% races. I noticed as well, there's only 14 full-time drivers, but we got basically the entirety of Race Spec in the reserve column. There's like a solid 20-30 people in the reserve column. Kind of insane. Am I going to do commentary for Crossway? Not sure. I think for the event, it will just be like a privately run thing. I don't know if there is going to be a stream for it or not. But if Plebs wants me to do something like that, I probably could. I'd have to wait and see. Yeah, I'm keen for endurance as well, Bags. I think it'll be fun. There's not too many leagues out there that actually have 100% format somewhere in their league. Everybody just runs 50%, and that's completely understandable. It's the go-to format for league racing, but I don't know, I just like doing the full-length Grand Prix. You know, I enjoy doing them, so hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, Black Moon will be doing commentary for Endurance. He's very good. Very, very good. And I believe he'll have Tent Sandals alongside, who's also very good. So, should be interesting for Formula Endurance. Man, this is taking a while. What's going on? It's just taking a little longer than I thought it would. I don't know, chat. What are we going to talk about? Top 3 for Monza, what, in real life? No? Like the real life Italian Grand Prix? I mean, it's hard to ignore the Red Bulls right now. They are ridiculously fast. I imagine Verstappen and Perez are going to be near untouchable at Monza. I mean, I'm sure every Ferrari fan would want to see Ferrari do well, but there's no other way of putting it. They don't have the horsepower that Red Bull are producing in their Red Bulls. It's going to be Max and Perez more than likely, unless both of them get into some sort of trouble. Third place will be the interesting spot to keep an eye on, whether it be either Ferrari or maybe even a Mercedes. Or somebody else, for that matter. I remember, I think at Baku and Canada, Alonso in the Alpine was rather fast in the speed traps, so I'd imagine Alpine would actually be fairly competitive at Monza. Whether they're top 3 capable is a different question entirely, but they're definitely capable. Yeah, they could be in the points bags, Williams. I imagine that sort of track would favour their sort of setup. I think Alex made a point about it, that sort of the high-speed circuits is where the Williams car is quite strong. So I imagine Williams will be doing quite well at Monza. At least scoring a point or a couple of points. That would be really good. But yeah, it'll be an interesting Grand Prix to see how the field stacks up, but I think we could all unanimously agree that Red Bull are the very clear favourites for the Italian Grand Prix. Like I said, it's looking like a 1-2 unless something happens. And stuff can happen at Monza, that's for sure. It definitely happened last year with Max and Lewis at the Rettifilia chicane. So drama is always lurking around every corner at Monza. Yeah, the Monza has thrown up wild results, so I don't know. I'll be interested to see how the Grand Prix will unfold. There's an invite. Ugh. Finally, taking a little while, but we're getting there. Boop. Yeah, no, I had to put my detective hat on, Rebellion. Try and work that one out. Turned into Sherlock Holmes for a good 2 minutes, and eventually I got there. But yeah, no. I was able to piece it all together, what happened to you under the safety car, and JBH has been punished by the stewards for his actions. He was given a whopping 15-second time penalty and 3 penalty points. The penalties, I have to say, coming out of Spa, they were hefty. Like, there were two 15-second time penalties and 3 penalty points, and Rafa, he got a 10-second time penalty for his incident with Hash on lap 1. Now, it was certainly an incredibly dramatic race at Spa, but yeah, the penalties, the stewards came down hard. So I think it sort of sends a message across to the drivers in the American Series. Try not to do anything too silly, otherwise you'll get probably shafted by the stewards, you will get punished quite severely. And it appears we're going to be having random conditions for the race. See here with lobby options. No, we won't see it in lobby options. Where will we? Weather and time of day. That's it. So yeah, dynamic session time at random. Probably change that to official, but that's alright. Random won't change too much. Just change how bright the racetrack is. You reckon, vegan? KD, Mighty, JVH. To be honest, with this racetrack, it's very difficult to predict the podium because you never quite know how much drama you're going to witness here. It's a very tough little racetrack. So if you make even the slightest mistake, you can quite easily go into a barrier, like we saw with Cole and with Axis during qualifying. They did only tiny mistakes, got on the throttle a little early, lost the back of the car, put it into the wall. That's all it takes. And you need to use all of your talent to try and recover a car after you lose it, like we saw with Nico during qualifying, when he lost it at the penultimate turn and almost put it into a wall. So yeah, it's a tough little racetrack. And in order for everyone to get through, then they need to be on top of their game. Need to be 100% focused 100% of the time here at Zandvoort. And if you're a Ferrari driver, you need to hope that your mechanics don't screw you over. So yeah, time penalties. It is a bit difficult to get time penalties here because the edge of the racetrack is grass and sand, so you're sort of very desensitized to use the full width of the racetrack. Of course, if you want to set the fastest times here, you need to use the full width of the circuit. But if you go that little bit too far, then you're in a sand trap, and you can get quite easily screwed. So I imagine not too many drivers will be getting warnings. The only areas I can really think of where you could get warnings is the chicane, like cutting too much of the inside curb at turn 11 and running too far wide at turn 13. But as we saw with Nico, if you do run too far wide, the curb is very nasty and you can lose control of the car and you can put it into the barrier. So yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing too many time penalties from like drivers running wide, cutting the track and whatnot. What we might see time penalties for is severe collisions if drivers are unlucky enough. Especially on the opening lap when the field's bunched up. So we've got 18 drivers in the lobby. Brum has joined the session as well, and I believe he'll be starting from the back. And Shizant as well. Was he in the lobby? I don't think he was in the lobby. I don't think he was. Name, I don't remember calling out that name in the final qualifying results. But everybody else is here, I think. Pretty sure everyone else is here. Here Black Bowler. Get through it this way. Just quickly checking them off in my head. Yeah, I think, yeah, everything looks good. Can also have a look at KD's house once again. Oh, everyone's wearing sunnies. Everyone's so cool, they're wearing sunnies indoors. So oh, unlucky bags. Off by 10th. Wait, who are you managing for? I'm guessing like Williams or Aston Martin or something. Yeah. Aston. Yeah, fair enough. Like the worst people in the whole. Oh, look at the weather change. It's now cloudy. Cloudy. Look at that. The icon change. It's now cloudy. Yeah, everyone wearing hats and sunglasses indoors. It's so cool. What hat is that? The Brum's got on his head. That is a seriously colourful hat. Oh, and the names aren't appearing on top. That's me. On the left. That's definitely me. But everybody else's name wasn't there. Oh. Nico, Wombat, Shizant, Axis. Next to the Mercedes safety car. And no one wants to be next to the DB11. Oh. Nobody wants to be next to the DB11. Sad DB11. Oh. I'd stand next to it. It's a gorgeous looking car. For some reason I'm next to the Artura. Just the lads hanging by the pool. Not bothering to look at the 720S. Boys standing in front of the Tributo. Not bothering to sit down in the couch. No. They're too cool for that. They've got to stand up. There's me checking my phone. I might do that actually. IRL. I want to check my phone. Yeah, touche, bags. None of them are wearing those ridiculous cycle shorts. Those cycling trunks. They are some of the worst looking clothes you could possibly wear. Oh, I suppose so. You know, it is a big beach house. You got all this lighting. But it's just like you're indoors. Why are you wearing sunnies? That's just me. That's just me. I wonder what's up those stairs, out of curiosity. Just out of morbid curiosity. You can see the empty trophy cabinet. Let's be honest, every single one of our trophy cabinets looks exactly like that, just completely empty. It's great. All the green as well. I wonder where this place actually is. Like, where is this house in Cannon? Oh, there's the counter, so we're getting ready. Because I'm rad, yeah, man. Where Sonny's indoors because I'm cool. It's not for eye protection at all. Looking like a badass. But yeah, as far as this image is concerned, me and the other two blokes, whoever they are, we're just completely worthless. Our names aren't even worth mentioning. Damn. Right, race time. Enough chit-chat. Time to go racing. Now, a reminder to all the drivers watching the stream, put a setup on. For crying out loud, put a setup on. If you don't put a setup on, you are screwed. So put a setup on. Everyone's loading into the session. They will also have to select their tyre allocation, even though you can't change it. Oh. Right. We're just waiting on the Easy Writer. As the clock counts down to 0, there we go. It's now pre-formation lap time. How interesting. Put a setup on. For goodness sake. Nice overcast conditions. Not a single raindrop in sight yet. We'll wait and see what the conditions are like towards the end. Let's drive for the start. And somebody's clicked fairly early. Somebody's happy with their setup and their strategy. So drivers have got under 20 seconds to get their setup on, adjust it accordingly, adjust your setup, and adjust your fuel for the start of the Grand Prix. Hopefully everyone can do that. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Formation lap time. Or loading time before formation lap time. You can also see the drivers on the far right of screen. Now they're the middle of screen. The drivers set off on that. Hey! What am I looking at? I'm not looking at KD. That's what I'm not looking at. Who was that? Was that JBH I was looking at? That was the left-hand side, so it would have been a odd number. So it must have been Black Baller who I was looking at. Interesting. Bring up the tyre graphic. Who's starting on... Oh, okay. Well, this is a fairly convincing story, isn't it? So we'll run through the order just quickly. KD will start from pole position. He's starting on the medium compound tyre. Nico will start alongside him on the front row, also on the mediums. KD's teammate, Mighty Wombat, starting on the medium tyre as well in P3. Same with Axis in P4. Same with Cole in P5 and Blockman in P6 and Collider in P7 and Renner Jr. in P8. So the first 4 rows, they're all starting on the medium compound tyre. The first driver who isn't starting on the medium compound tyre is Rebellion in 9th place. He is surrounded by people who are on softer compounds. He's on the hard compound tyre, and hopefully he keeps out of trouble at the start of the race. He'll have Hash alongside him in P10 on the medium compound tyre. Someone spun. That's Mercedes that spun. JBH was the one who spun. But yeah, Easy Rider will start P11 on the soft compound tyre. He's the only driver starting on the soft compound. JBH is starting on the medium, same with his teammate Black Baller. Guitar Hero in 14th is starting on the mediums. Same with Rafa and Flavius, the 2 Williams drivers, starting P15 and 16. 2 Alfa Romeos, one is starting on the medium compound tyre, that is Refixer in 17th. Brum, starting in 18th, is starting on the hard tyre. And Shizant, at the back of the field, is also starting on the hard tyre. So we've got 3 guys on the hards, 1 guy on the soft tyre, and everybody else on a set of mediums. Okay? Okay. Get rid of the tyre graphic. Now, I'll see if I can't get a good angle of the start. This is probably as good as it's going to get for the start, I would think. Sort of zoomed in shot here, because we don't get the start, the proper starting camera angle anymore. Because for some reason it disappeared out of the game. Now, Axis, Hash, and Black Baller got disqualified, so did Shizant, so they might have cold tyres for the start of the Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see. But all 19 cars are lined up, ready to race here at Zandvoort. The lights glow red, and we are underway here at Zandvoort. It's a weird start. Refixer gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And here comes Axis down the inside into turn 1. 3 wide for the lead. Coming out to Tarzan Corner. It's still 3 wide. Heading towards turn 2. It's tight. It's very tight. Nico goes round the outside at turn 2 and takes the lead. A fantastic manoeuvre from the AlphaTauri driver. KD tries to fight back, but he has to concede. He goes from first to third on the opening lap. Mighty Wombat in 4th. Renner Jr. in 5th place. Cole in 6th. Followed by Collider, Blockman. The 2 Mercedes-Benzes of JBH and Black Baller now inside the top 10. Rebellion down to 11th place. Followed by Easy Rider. Hash down to 13th. He was inside the top 10 at the start. He's down in 13th. The 2 Mercedes battling for position. Rebellion and Easy Rider battling as well as they head down the straightaway towards turn 11. JBH on the outside. He needs to send it in deep and does so. Sends it in really deep and he gets it done. Rebellion and Easy Rider are battling for 11th as they head out of turn 12 towards turn 13. Easy Rider is in front, not by much though. Rebellion can't really fight that, I'm afraid. He goes down to P12 and he's got Hash right in his gearbox. Oh, dearie me, they almost make contact there at turn 12 and Rebellion almost goes into the wall. Now, we've had a bit of drama on this opening lap, but everybody's gotten through. Refixer has to go into the pit lane to serve a drive-through. Penalty contact between Collider and Cole as they head around turns 2 and 3. Blockman's just following behind as well in P8. So we've got a battle on here for what is 5th place because Renner Jr. is right in front of this train. Easy Rider's overtaken Black Baller. That was for P10. as these fellas make their way around turn 7, heading towards turn 8. There's a predicted pit stop strategy. Pit windows lap 16 to 21. Let's try and keep that in mind as they head around the hairpins of turns 9 and 10 and head back on to the straightaway towards turn 11. Cole closes in on Renner Jr., heading up towards turn 11. He looks to the inside. Does he send it in? No, he stays behind for now, waiting for the appropriate moment to strike. Nico doing a great job out in front. He's got almost 1 second over Axis already, so an absolutely superb start for the AlphaTauri driver. Axis in P2, 8/10 behind, doing his best to keep within that 1 second range. KD in a similar position to Axis. He's 8/10 behind him, doing his best to keep within that 1 second range. Wombat hovering behind in P4 as well. And it's a bit of a gap back to Renner Jr., who's got his hand full with Cole right behind. Around turn 3, coming out of the bank corner, heading towards turn 4. Yellow flags are out. It is Rafa, the Williams driver, spinning out at turn 2. Gets pointed back in the right direction, but has fallen down to 17th place. Look at this midfield train. My goodness. All of these guys in a position to race, but not close enough to try and pass one another. Such is the nature of this circuit. Or Cole, slightly narrower line at turn 10. Tried to create a move there, but he's now got the run out of the hairpin towards turn 11. Looking to the inside here into the right-hander. Renner gives him room. Looking around the outside, jumping over the curb goes the Ferrari, and Cole moves into P5. And Collider is right behind, but this battle is certainly not over. Renner Jr. will get DRS down the main straightaway, but he's lost a significant amount of time as JBH goes down the inside of Blockman at the final corner to move into P8. Can Blockman fight back though into turn 1? He's 1/10 behind. He looks to the inside, sends it in. JBH leaves room. Out to Tarzan Corner they go, heading up towards turn 2. Unfortunately for Blockman, he can't continue the fight. He has to concede. And I think he's going to stay in 8th place. Oh, no, he gets a run, actually. Oh, not quite. I thought he actually drew alongside JBH there. But he wasn't able to continue the fight. He has to stay behind. Though JBH is on the back of Collider. Lost a little bit of time through turn 7. And unfortunately for Blockman, he couldn't capitalise on that time loss. Oh, but Collider makes a mistake. Runs wide at turn 8. Loses a few positions. He drops down to 9th. He's now battling Easy Rider to hang on to said 9th place. And I think he's succeeded in this battle, but only just. Heading into turn 11. Then around turn 12. Easy Rider trying to make the most of those soft compound tyres. Trying to attack. My goodness. Really tight battling going on here. As Cole is pulling away. He's got 2 seconds to Renner Jr. now. As they're heading down the main straightaway. Down towards turn 1. JBH not in a position to attack Renner Jr. right now. Still just hovering behind, but he is awfully close. As they head up towards turn 2. Then into turn 3. It's just over a 10th separating these two. Oh, contact, I think. Minor contact between the Ferrari and Mercedes there at turn 3. And just behind is Blockman and P8, just waiting behind. Collider 9th, then Easy Rider. Rebellion and Black Baller changing places here. Rebellion in 11th rather. Black Baller in 12th as they head around turn 7. JBH has spun. He has spun at the exit of turn 7. And he rejoins down in 14th, make that 15th place. Here comes Flavius catching up. Oh, and hello, there's been an overtake as well between... Oh, Collider has spun actually at turn 7. Sorry, turn 10. Heading back onto the straightaway. He drops all the way down to 14th place behind JBH. In front of JBH and in front of Flavius. Now, the train is still formed here. Everyone's still in a position to battle. Blockman right behind Renner Jr. I think he's going to try and line him up here. Out to the final corner. DRS open, using plenty of battery as well. There's not much Renner can do, but he is fighting. He's got plenty of straight line speed in that Ferrari. But down the inside goes Blockman. Renner can't do much about that, I'm afraid. So Renner down to 7th, Blockman up to P6. Meanwhile, out in front, half a second separating the top two. Then it's a 1.2 second gap back to KD in third. So KD has lost time to the top two. He needs to get back within 1 second of the top two as soon as he possibly can. Mighty Wombat in fourth place, just following his teammate around, doing a decent job. It's looking still quite strong for McLaren right now, so it's looking like a decent points haul heading onto the back straightaway towards turns 11 and 12. 0.6 of a second separating the top two. Brummer's retired from the session. He's actually retired in the pit lane. So he was able to join during the intervening period between qualifying and the race, but he's elected to pull out of the race and retire in the pit lane. Fair enough, I suppose. But it was only lap 6 of 36. We've still got a long way to go until the checkered flag. Axis closing in down the main straightaway towards turn 1. 4.10 separating the two drivers now as sparks fly as they hit the apex of turn 1, heading out of Tarzan Corner towards turn 2. KD has lost time. He's now 1.3 seconds behind Axis. He needs to try and put a few mega laps together to try and catch up to the top two. And his teammate Wombat is still right behind. 4.10 behind as JBH overtakes Collider for 14th place. Renner Jr. now has got Easy Rider right behind, half a second separating those two. Rebellion losing a little bit of time, but that is to be expected on the hard compound tyre. Black Baller next in 10th, followed by Guitar Hero and Hash. Then it's a bit of a gap back to Shizant and P13, followed by JBH and Collider. Flavius, Rafa and Rafixa down in 18th place after having to serve a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Around turns 11 and 12, half a second separating these two still. KD, he's gained time, but not a lot. He's now only 1.2 seconds behind the top two. They head around the final corner of turn 14 and up. Oh, KD's actually crashed out. He has crashed at the penultimate turn, or rather at the entry to the final corner. He's put it into the wall. He's out of the race. And into the pits goes Cole, taking advantage of the safety car coming out. I believe a set of hard tyres will be at the ready for him. And they come. That's a horrible camera angle, game. My goodness. Couldn't be a much worse camera angle if I'm being honest. Weren't even looking at the Haas pit box for whatever reason. He comes out in 9th place on fresh tyres. Rebellion onto a set of mediums. Fresh set of mediums. Guitar Hero onto a set of hards. Same with Easy Rider, Black Baller, Flavius. Collider's pitted for a set of softs. Refixers come in. I reckon for a set of hards, that would be my guess. Into the pits. Soft tyres actually for the Alfa Romeo driver. New set of softs. Interesting. But no, that's a massive shame for KD. He was in a very strong position in third, and it seems that he's thrown it away. A massive blow for him. Didn't have the best of opening rounds at Spa. He was looking to make a comeback here. Unfortunately, he's put it into the wall. Now, in comes Nico. Axis stays out. Mighty Wombat has come in. So a few drivers taking advantage of this safety car period. Some drivers staying out. Interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how these strategies come together towards the end of the race as well. With some drivers electing to stay out and some drivers electing to pit. Yeah, I'm not surprised, KD, that it was the curb at turn 13. That outside curb at 13 is seriously a piece of work. So it's really unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the racetrack, I'm afraid. What is a big plus for Nico as well, who was leading the race, he's actually got two cars between him and the next car on fresh tyres, which is Mighty Wombat. So Wombat, he's got JBH and Shizant in front of him that he has to try and pass in order to get up to Nico. That's a nice little bonus that Nico has. Now that will change if any of them pit. And Cole, he's now the third best placed car on fresh tyres. He's in 9th behind both Nico and Wombat. But he's directly behind Wombat in 9th. So he'll be able to challenge the McLaren driver for position. on the restart. Rafa's next, followed by Rebellion, who was on fresh mediums. Guitar Hero on fresh hards. Same with Easy Rider, Black Baller, Flavius as well. Collider's on softs. Same with Refixer. So they've still got a bit of catching up to do. Now, those who elected to stay out are committing to this strategy. None of them have elected to pit to put on fresh rubber. So they're going to commit on these tyres. They're 9 laps old. They've done a fair bit of work already. And those medium tyres can wear out pretty quickly. Once they hit a certain point, the grip sort of just disappears on you. Hopefully this won't take too long. We can also check the position change graphic. We can see Axis up 3, Blockman up 4, Renner up 5, Hash up 6, Nico down 3, but that's of course after the pit stop. Shizard up 13, JBH up 5, Wombat down 5, Cole down 4, Rafa up 5, Rebellion down 2, Guitar Hero up 2, Easy Rider down 2, Black Baller down 1, Flavius up 1, Collider down 9, and Refixer holding station in 17th place. Could also probably check Race Director as well. Don't know why it does that with Race Director. It's so strange. So yeah, jump start for Refixer. Had to serve a drive-through. Warning for Easy Rider collision with JVH. JVH got a warning for that as well. Rebellion got a collision warning with Easy Rider. Collision warning with Blockman for Renner Jr. Blockman got it as well. KD got a collision warning with Nico too. Nico got one with KD. Brum, a collision with Rafa. All of them on the opening lap. And KD with terminal damage. What the? What's happened? Why am I stuck here? What the? It's like... What? What the? Whoa, what the hell? What's happened to the spectator? Oh, okay, now I'm back. No, I'm not. Oh, now I am. What the hell was that? That was... What the heck was that? Well, migrating host, as Black Ball has left the session. We're now back on the green flag racing here at Zandvoort. I have no idea what that was. And Renner Jr. is on the attack down the inside of both of them. They're 3 wide at turn 1 as Renner has to take to the curb. Blockman now leads as they head up towards turn 2. Contact between the 2 cars and off goes Axis into the wall. Front wing damage for the Aston Martin driver. A massive blow for him as he's ghosting through Wombat. Wombat goes up to P6 now and Cole is right behind in 8th place, trying to challenge the Aston Martin driver. It's going to be a sitting duck with that front wing damage. And I'm completely lost after what happened during that safety car period. I have no idea what the hell happened. Nico attacking Hash here at turn 9 as Cole overtakes Axis. Nico is still battling with Hash, the Ferrari driver putting up a fight as they head onto the straightaway towards turn 11. Nico gets in front. He's now into P3. He's now got 2 cars in front of him that separate him from the race lead. Wombat trying to make up places as well. He's in P6. He's still got to pass Hash and Shizant here as they head around turn 13. Shizant runs wide. Wombat closes in as they head around turn 14 onto the main straightaway. 1.5 tenths separating the 2 cars as they head down towards turn 1. Axis peels into the pit lane to get his car fixed. No one in a position to attack into one though. Wombat's got to run around the outside of turn 1, heading up towards turn 2. He's right on the back of the Red Bull. Can he create a move here into turn 3? Wombat, he's looking around the long way, trying the high line. Can't get the traction, can't get the speed. He's still behind Shizan. He's now drawing alongside, heading around turn 5. Oh, he backs out of it. Probably a wise thing to do. You don't want to go side by side through there. Can be incredibly nasty as they head out of turn 7, up towards turn 8. Yeah, Wombat can't attack through here. I'm afraid he has to stay behind. That's a massive blow for Axis. Down in 7th. Oh, running wide goes Hash. He drops a position. He might drop 2 as Wombat tries to draw alongside. Down the straightaway we go towards turn 11. They're wheel to wheel. Now Wombat's in front with the inside line as well for turn 11. Hash can't fight that, I'm afraid. Wombat's up to 5th, and I think there might have been contact between Cole and Hash. Hash was a bit slow at the apex of turn 12, and I'm not sure, but I think Cole hit the back of him there at turn 12. Here comes Nico and Renner Jr. as DRS is now enabled on lap 14 of 36. Down into turn 1, Nico can't put himself in a position to attack just yet, but he's in a really strong position in terms of strategy right now. Heading up towards turn 2, Shizen still holding back Mighty Wombat as they go around turn 3. Wombat, he's got pace, but he's got nowhere to go. He can't find a way by the Red Bull, who is low on battery as well. You can tell from the flashing light at the back of the car as Cole's trying to create a move down the inside here at turn 6 and 7, and JBH is going to try and follow through as well. Can't do so. Hash will hang on to 7th, but Cole, he's now up into 6th place, and he has his sights set on Mighty Wombat in the McLaren around turn 9, heading up towards turn 10. Oh, it's close between JBH and Rebellion, who tries to send it down the inside there at turn 10. Didn't quite work. He stays in P9. An audacious move. Unfortunately, nothing too dramatic coming from it. Around turn 12, as JBH overtakes Hash, who is overtaken by Rebellion as well. Side by side, Rafa and Guitar Hero heading up towards turn 13. Easy Rider just behind as well. Rafa down to 11th. Easy Rider around the outside moves into 11th place now. Rafa down to 12th. Overtake here for Mighty Wombat. He gets by Shizen. There wasn't much a Red Bull driver could do about that as Nico and Renner battle out of turn 1. Nico's into P2. It's now a AlphaTauri 1-2 on lap 15 of 36 here at Zandvoort. Cole on the back of Shizen now. He has to try and find a way by the Red Bull. He draws alongside. It's tight. He's on the curb. He loses control. He puts it into the barrier. Complete front wing damage for the Haas driver. He has to let everybody through, and we got a full course yellow. A safety car, in fact, has been deployed. Oh, don't get beached. Oh, he didn't get beached. Thank goodness for that. Well, this is a saving grace for Axis after his earlier incident. He can now catch up to the tail of the field, try and mount an assault up through the pack, try and get some sort of result. But what a blow for Cole. It was alongside Shizen. He had to go onto the grass to avoid contact. Ran over the curb. Lost control of the car. I suppose the silver lining to the situation is that he's still in the race. But he will have to pit to get that front wing fixed. Into the pits goes Blockman. He started on those medium compound tyres. Going to get off them and move on to a set of hards, I would think. Yep. Set of hards at the ready, and on they go. Shizen pitting in as well. What is he pitting on to? A set of mediums. The old set of mediums he was on. Actually, no, that's a fresh set of mediums. That's right, he didn't pit. Oh, as Cole's actually elected to retire in the pit lane. He's had enough. I don't honestly understand that decision, but that's his decision at the end of the day. And Axis will come out in P14, potentially P13, a pit exit. No, oh, he's overtaken. I don't think he'd be allowed to do that. Yeah, and he has to let Rafa back through. It was an illegal overtake. He didn't get him at pit exit, I'm afraid. Cole's left the session as well. My only guess is that he's quite frustrated with what happened between him and Easy Rider there at turn 5, so instead of continuing to race, he's elected to put the gloves up and call it a day. Now, I'm not going to go into the pause menu, because last time I did that, the game went sort of went into glitch mode. Oh, is that what the issue is? Is safety car on broadcast mode? Oh, that's what it would have been. Yeah, me going into, yeah, broadcast mode, yeah. Yeah, look at that. That's broadcast mode. So that's why I couldn't flick between drivers. Well, how peculiar. So the spectator gets That's so silly. Why does the spectator get broadcast mode? Why am I looking at the safety car for? Yeah. Then why don't we get these camera angles? This is a sick angle. Look how fast the safety car's going down the main straight. My goodness, that thing was flying. But look, we get a proper safety car prompt for this angle. And we don't get... Cause AMG bro. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's actually Formula Mercedes. Safety car in this lap. Alright. Now, do I have control again? I have control again. Alright. That's just silly, though. Like... Oh, well. Alright. Leaders trying to get temperature into their tyres. Nice and desperately. They're on hard tyres as well, which aren't easy to get up to temperature. And Nico is taking sweet time to launch the thing. And away we go, back on the green flag. Oh, collision in the background. We've had a Formula 2 moment. Rebellion and Shizen crash. I believe Axis is involved as well. And into the pits goes Shizen. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Shizen to 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, and we've got a Formula Ford, or rather a Formula Ferrari right here. Hatch has got a missing wing contact and he spun into the wall. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Nico and Wombat separated by half a second at the front. Guitar Hero is now in third, followed by Easy Rider in fourth. Then Black Baller, who had left the session. Blockman is overtaking the AI of Black Baller. He's now into P5, or almost anyway. Now he is in P5. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Big old crash. Coming out of the final corner. Plenty involved in that one. Massive blow. And in front though, Nico enjoying life with clear air in front of him. But he's not completely clear of the car behind. Wombat 4/10 behind, keeping the pressure up. Nico 1.5, rather Guitar Hero 1.5 seconds back in P3. He still has Easy Rider right behind, and Blockman is closing in the other AlphaTauri. Black Baller's AI dawdling about in P6. Renner Jr. should make mincemeat of the AI as Hash and Rebellion pit in to get their cars repaired. They were involved in the restart shunt on the main straightaway. Battle on here between Flavius and JBH. JBH doesn't get a great run and Rafa closes in. Heading up towards turn 9. Rafa looking to the inside. Can't really commit to a move though. And here comes Collider in the Alpine down the inside at turn 10. An opportunity arose for the Alpine driver and he took it with both hands. He's into P10 as Renner Jr. overtakes the AI of Black Baller. Into turn 11, Axis looking around the outside, has the inside line for turn 12. He's now into P11. Continuing to make his charge up through the leaderboard, and it seems, although I thought he was involved in that shunt, he hasn't got any damage if he was, or he wasn't involved at all, he was just around the scene. Now, top two still separated by 4/10 of a second. This is definitely on between the top two. Nico is not driving away. Wombat is not losing time. This is well and truly on. 2.2 seconds back. It's Guitar Hero in third. And he's got a healthy gap to Easy Rider behind. So Guitar Hero, what he needs to do, keep his eyes forward, remain concentrated, and hope that he doesn't lag out of the session, because he certainly lagged there. JBH also overtook Flavius. That was before turn 6. So JBH is into P8. Collider is closing in as well as they head around turn 8 towards turn 9. Looking to the inside is Collider. Sends it into the right-hander. Coming out of the hairpin towards turn 10. Axis is going to get involved as well. Around the left-hander they go. And Flavius loses 2 positions in one corner. Collider up to 9th. Axis up to 10th as they head towards turns 11 and 12. Oh, as Rafa and Flavius are battling for position. Coming out to turn 12. Flavius in front, not by much so. And there's Rafixa behind in the Alfa Romeo. Heading around the bank sweeper, the final corner on the racetrack. Heading down the main straightaway. Flavius is a sitting duck with no DRS, and through goes Rafa into P11. Battle is still very much on here between JBH, Collider and Axis. So head around turn 2, up towards turn 3. 3.5 tenths separating P8 and 9. 3 tenths separating the top 2. It's still very much on between the top 2. It's also on between these 3 as well for P3. We've got a few battles going on right now. Going to be interesting to try and keep tabs on all of them as Hash sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 13.888. Down towards turn 11. Wombat closing in with the help of DRS. Not by enough to attack, but by enough to keep the pressure on. Axis and Collider battling for position as they're side by side out of turn 10. Heading down the straightaway towards turn 11. Axis has got the... Oh, he's got a lot of straight line speed. Was able to pull away from Collider and get in front before the braking zone. And both cars would have had DRS as well. So that Aston, it's got some straight line speed underneath it. Wombat closing in. Not by enough, though, to attack into Tarzan Corner. Unlike Blockman, who draws alongside Easy Rider, side by side through turn 1. Blockman gets in front, but Easy Rider fights back. Up towards turn 2, Easy Rider gets back in front into 4th place as JBH pits in for a set of soft tyres. Not sure why he's done that. He might have got damage, and he's being held in the pit lane for some time, so I reckon he did indeed get damage. Around turn 6, around turn 7. These 3 still very much in a fight. Blockman keeping the pressure up. Guitar Hero doing a good job holding 3rd. Wombat 4 tenths behind Nico as Hash sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 13.838. He improves by half a tenth. Up towards turn 11. Not close enough to attack here as Axis overtakes the AI of Black Baller, who gets demoted down to P8. Collider closing in as well. He should make mincemeat of the AI. Look at Guitar Hero building a margin, 7 tenths in hand, doing a really, really good job in 3rd place. Managing his own race pretty well. Wombat closing in, not by enough though to attack at turn 1. But he's keeping the pressure on, doing a really nice job. Nico also doing a nice job as Axis sets a new fastest lap, 1 minute 13.740. Proper battle here at the front of the field once again here at Zandvoort. I've commentated 2 previous races here in Race Spec here at the Zandvoort circuit. Both of them had battles at the front of the field, and it's looking like it's going to be a repeat performance for this Dutch racetrack, which is quite surprising for Zandvoort. Not traditionally a very interesting race circuit in terms of the racing. We're starting to see some action on track, that's for sure. As Wombat closes in. Can Blockman close in on Easy Rider here? Probably not. Not by enough anyway. Wombat. His key area of the racetrack he needs to work on is here at turn 13. Needs to get a nice run here so he can carry as much speed as possible through the bank corner onto the main straightaway. And I think he might have just done... well, not quite. You can also see he's not using any battery. I've flipped the telemetry on. 72-73% compared to Nico, who's on 90. Neither driver has really spent any battery. They're both in sort of conservation mode. So they both have tons of resources to dispose of. Neither of them are willing to dispose of it just yet. They're going to play a smarter, longer game rather than try and attack right here, right now. Be interesting to see how that unfolds towards the end of the race. Axis closing in on Renner Jr. So the battle is on now for 6th place on track. Axis closing in at a rate of knots. He has seriously got some pace in that Aston Martin. My goodness. Heading around turn 9. Up towards turn 10. Axis all over the back of the Ferrari. Now heading onto the straightaway towards turn 11. Axis will close in, I would think. No, look at Renault Jr. pulling away. That Ferrari has got some seriously good straight line speed. But in the corners it's lacking, which is completely the opposite to its real life counterpart. Around turn 13. 5th gear. Missing the apex is Renault Jr. Axis smothers the apex. He's got to run as well. Oh, almost into the wall there. He goes quite high. Out to turn 14. He managed to keep his car out of the barrier. Into turn 1. He sends it in, Axis. Renault gives room. What a brilliant overtake. Fully committed. Got the car pulled up. And credit to Renault as well. He saw him coming and left the door open. And left just enough room for himself and Axis going down the inside. Rafa overtaking Black Baller. Continuing to lose time in the Mercedes-Benz. That AI just not doing the job necessary, and from the looks of things, Black Baller won't be able to rejoin the session either. He's left for some time, so yeah, it's really unfortunate for Black Baller. Out of turn 12, heading up towards turn 13, the gap 0.4 of a second between the top two. Wombat, he's lost time through that final part of the lap. He won't be able to attack here again. It's now lap 27 of 36. We have now got 10 laps to go. And Rafixa and Flavius are battling for P11 on track. Flavius not putting up too much of a fight. Rafixa into P11. Collider closing in on Renault Jr. Looking to the inside here at turn 1. Sends it in. An almost carbon copy to what we saw with Axis and Renault Jr. And once again, Renault just leaving the door open, allowing the overtake to happen. And Collider's now into 7th place. Can he close in on Axis? Well, at the moment, he's lost time through the first sector. The gap's increased to 1.7 seconds now. Axis is on a charge. His target is this man, Blockman in P5. Still stuck behind Guitar Hero and Easy Rider. These two doing a really nice job holding 3rd and 4th. Wombat's lost time here. The gap's increased to 0.6 between these two. He's still within a second though. And he's found time himself through the chicane of turns 11 and 12. As they head around turn 13, the gap increases to 0.6. Nico's still got plenty of battery to dispose of. Mighty Wombat's got plenty of battery himself, but not as much as Nico. Nico's in the 90s, whereas Wombat, he's in the 60s. Guitar Hero still holding on to 3rd. Easy Rider still in 4th. Blockman still in 5th. Axis has closed in, though, I do believe. The gap's now 3.8 seconds between the two cars. Axis driving like a bat out of hell. Try and catch up. Through the S's. Turn 5. Into turn 6 and turn 7. The gap 0.3 between P3 and 4. The gap also 0.3 between P4 and 5. Around turn 8. Up towards turn 9. Blockman closes in, but not by enough. You can see the flashing red light at the back of the Red Bull. He is low on battery as Shizen pits in for a new set of tyres. Down the straightaway towards turn 11. Easy Rider closes in on the Aston Martin just by a little bit. And Blockman is still being held in P5 as Axis has closed in by an entire second as Easy Rider gets a poor run out to turn 12. As a result, he's now down to 5th. Blockman up to 4th as Nico sets a new fastest lap. Now Blockman here does not have DRS. He was not within a second of Guitar Hero. Here comes Easy Rider looking around the outside as Axis sets a new fastest lap. Coming out to Tarzan Corner, Blockman gets in front, but doesn't get the best of runs. Easy Rider is right on his gearbox. Now Blockman starts to pull away as they head through turn 3. And Axis, there he is there in the Aston Martin. Now 1.7 seconds behind. He is closing in, and closing in fast. Around turn 9. 0.6 separating the top two. Make that about half a second. No, back up to 0.6. 0.7 even. So Nico starting to stretch his legs a little bit, building a margin. Wombat losing little bit of time here and there. But he can't afford to overdrive the car. He needs to remain focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. Well, you can see Nico moving around a little bit as well. Hopefully that won't be too distracting. Now Axis is almost within a second of Easy Rider. He is flying out there. Around turn 13, around turn 14. 1.1 seconds separate these two cars as they head down the main straightaway to begin lap 30 of 36. We've still got 7 laps to go. Round turn 1. Sparks fly as Axis hits the apex of turn 1. Rebellion has overtaken Hash as well. That was for P14. Around turn 3. Out of the banked hairpin up towards turn 4. The gap is now under a second between Easy Rider and Axis. There's one thing catching up. It's a whole different ball game trying to pass here at Zandvoort, as Mighty Wombat has now dropped to outside of a second to Nico. Nico now starting to use his battery. He's now got 60-odd%, make that 50-odd% next to his name, compared to Mighty Wombat, who only has a measly 10% left. Wombat has dumped his battery too soon, and he doesn't have the resources to try and attack. Guitar Hero now has Blockman, Easy Rider, and Axis right behind him, as Shizen sets a new fastest lap, a 13.5. Yellow flags are out. It's Rafa in the Williams, spinning out at the exit of turn 10. And here comes Rafixer to take P10 away from him and demote Rafa down to 11th place. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. These four have bunched up by quite a bit. Guitar Hero doing his very best to try and hang on. Around turn 2. Into turn 3. Axis closing in. Taking a wider line, trying to get more speed out of the hairpin as they head through the flat-out S's of turns 4, 5, 6, and into the tricky right-hander of turn 7. All these guys half a second apart. None of them close enough to try and attack, as Rafa has made another mistake, this time at turn 1. Probably tripping over the inside curb, that would be my guess, as Rebellion pits in. Nico out in front. 1.5 seconds now is the gap. And there's a Ferrari in front as well. That would be Hash in 16th place. Yellow flags again. That would be Rafa at turn 3 going slowly. Now those lap cars will be ghosted, but you still need to try and obey the blue flag rules. You need to get out of the way of the leaders, not provide such a distraction to them. Onto the main straightaway. Guitar Hero still with half a second in hand, trying to keep Blockman at bay. Axis closing in, looking to the inside here at Tarzan Corner, and once again sends it in. Easy Rider fights around the outside as Rebellion crashes out. That is at the exit of turn 3, and we have a safety car. Oh my goodness. With 4 and a bit laps to go, we have a safety car. There is Rebellion's Alpine, dead and stranded at the exit of turn 3. Oh my goodness me. A late race safety car. It all comes down to this. Well, 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 well. Don't need telemetry now. Don't need to worry about battery. Everyone will have charged batteries for the restart. I'll be. Also, almost had 100 comments. That's pretty neat to see. Nice to see you fellas have been nice and chatty today. Oh, of course, there's still that bloody bot who just keeps spamming stuff. Really quite irritating. Into the pits goes somebody. It's Wombat. He pits. Interesting. Soft tyres being bolted onto the car. Will he come out in front of Guitar Hero? Oh, Guitar Hero and Blockman pit. That some of the drivers are... Oh, sorry, no. Guitar Hero and Axis pit. No, I got it wrong again. It was Easy Rider. I thought Axis was pitting. I thought it was going to be a double stack for Aston Martin. No. It was Easy Rider and Guitar Hero. Those were the ones that were pitting. And Wombat has now come out in 5th place. Oh, Has he thrown away a podium? I don't know. It's an interesting gamble to take. On the soft tyre, he's going to be rapid with the laps remaining. It's now an AlphaTauri 1-2. Axis, after what happened during this race, he's now in the top 3. He's on the podium. Collider's in 4th. These two, 3rd and 4th. They were battling in the midfield throughout this race. They're now in the top 5. Wombat in P5. He needs to go and give it everything with the laps remaining. However many laps we're going to have from here to the checkered flag. So when will the game take over? When will it go into spectator view? Because the leaders have caught up. Now lap 34 of 36. We've got 3 laps left. Is this going to be a 1-lap shootout? Yeah, potentially, KD. Someone could get seriously screwed. It all depends on how much drama we're going to see on the final lap. Unless we're going back on the green flag racing at the end of this lap. See the drivers trying to keep temperature into their tyres. So it might be a 2-lap dash. I'm not sure. It's completely dependent on when the safety car goes back in. You'll either go back in at the end of this lap or the end of the next one. This is going to be a very interesting finish. We've got drivers on soft tyres. We've got drivers on seriously old hards. All mixed up. Top 4 drivers, all of them are on the hard compound tyre. And the safety car is in this lap. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout. So everyone try and take a mental note. Top 4 are on the hard tyre. Black Bull is AI in P6. He's on hard tyre. Same with Raffixa in 9th. Everyone else is on soft compound tyres, ready to absolutely send it with 2 to go. Nico controls the field. The safety car is making its way back into its home inside the pit lane. Oh, and there's a lap car involved here. That would be Shizant. He's in the mix with the leaders. So Nico's got a margin to his own teammate. Axis is trying to draw alongside Blockman as they head down the main straightaway. We're now back on the green flag racing here at Zandvoort. And Blockman and Axis... no, not quite. Wombat goes on the grass, runs wide into the gravel trap. Oh my goodness me. And spins in front of the field. And Axis has spun out as well at turn 1. Oh, and Blockman as well. Collider's up to P2. Guitar Hero in 3rd. Renner Jr. in the Ferrari is P4. As Axis crashes out at turn 2. He's out of the race entirely. Oh my goodness me. And Guitar Hero has got a penalty. Renner Jr. is on for a podium finish. Black Baller's AI is battling with his teammate for P6. Are you kidding me? Running wide though, it's JBH. He's got a missing wing. Contact between him and Raffixa. Raffixa drops down to 11th as he takes out a board. Here comes Mighty Wombat through into P11. What complete disaster for the McLaren driver. He was in prime position on those soft tyres to try and take advantage of some carnage. Well, he was, one of the causes of that carnage on that restart lap. Oh my goodness. Ran onto the grass, ran into the gravel trap. Have no idea what happened. Oh, and spin for Collider. He has spun into the barrier and he's dropped all the way down to the bottom of the order. And he's got front wing damage as well. Nico's out in front having a laugh, if I'm being honest. He's got a huge margin behind. He's got a clear track in front of him. All he needs to do is make it to the finish. Guitar Hero's got a 3-second time penalty. If I'm not, 5 seconds in fact, next to his name. I'll have to see what that was about. In the final results screen. He's got Easy Rider behind. He's in provisional P2. Renner Jr.'s in P3. And Black Baller's AI is 4th. Are you kidding me? JBH trying to survive with a damaged car. Here comes Hatch closing in at a rate of knots. Up towards turn 8. Oh, Rafa and Mighty Wombat are battling as well. This is for P8 on track. Down the inside he goes. Into that 8th place. Trying to recover for lost positions. Hatch trying to battle JBH. JBH doing his best to try and hang on with a completely damaged car. Out in front, though, it's Nico. He's driven a superb race. The most important thing with this victory today is that he kept out of trouble. All of his rivals either faltered or made mistakes. Nico crosses the line. It's back-to-back wins. He wins in Spa and he wins here at Zandvoort. Easy Rider will finish in P2. Renner Jr. will finish in 3rd. Black Baller's AI is 4th. Guitar Hero is 5th. Followed by JBH with a broken car. Then Mighty Wombat, then Hash. Somehow he finishes behind Wombat. Then the 2 Williams, they finish in the 10. Rafix is 11th after that. What a dramatic end to a race. Wowee. What a Grand Prix. 3 dramatic Dutch Grand Prix back to back to back that I've watched. This certainly featured the most amount of drama. No drama about this man though. Nico got out in front, drove a great race, and he took a great victory here at Zandvoort. Back-to-back wins. He'll have 60 points next to his name, heading into round 3 at Monza. What a podium for Easy Rider as well, and for Renner Jr. for Ferrari. Out of nowhere. P2 and P3. What a result for both of them. Ali. So, the unofficial results of the Dutch Grand Prix. Nico claims victory after qualifying P2. He claims the top spot here for the Dutch Grand Prix. Easy Rider P2, followed by Renner Jr., then Black Baller, then Guitar Hero. He was given a 5-second time penalty. For what precisely? I would love to know. It was an unserved penalty. He was ignoring yellow flags with a lap to go. He might be able to get that removed. If he does, I believe that would promote him to P2 in the final results. If I'm not mistaken, yes it would. So we'll have to see what the stewards have to say next week. Outside of the top 5, we have JBH in P6, followed by Mighty Wombat. Hash finishes in P8, followed by Rafa. Flavius rounds out the top 10. Rafixa from 17th finishes 11th. Collider, he was on for a top 5, maybe even a potential podium, but he ended up spinning at turn 13 and he finishes in 12th. Blockman caught up in the incident at turn 1, finishes 13th. Shizant is our next finisher in 14th place, a lap down. Axis is classified in 15th. I do believe he'll score 1 point, as he retired at turn 2, crashing out at turn 2. He was caught up with that incident at turn 1 as well on the final restart lap. Outside of the points, we have Rebellion, Cole, KD, and Brum. What an interesting race we had today. And also fastest lap point for Guitar Hero as well. 1 minute 12.622. Well, I wouldn't believe it heading into this week that I would see 3 very interesting races at Zandvoort. I was not expecting that at all. Elite Series, Pacific Tier 1 and America Series, all of them interesting in their own way. This has been a very nice week for me, I have to say. Reminds me how much I love doing commentary. Absolutely fantastic. Huh. Wowee. And it's nice to see you lot in the chat being so chatty. It's really, really cool. Wowee. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. One bet. Wow. That was a race. That was a race. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. And what a stream it has been. Had interesting qualifying, had a fairly lengthy intervention to get the new lobby set up. Eventually we got there, and we had one interesting race, that's for sure. I think with everything said and done, it's time to wrap everything up. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 3 of the championship at Autodrome Nazionale Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.